Hello, welcome to the Deus Ex review. I am admindan 87.
And I'm jesusnails.
He certainly is. This is the first of many reviews to come on Deus Ex, because we can only do a certain amount at a time, with it being on Dan's computer, not mine, because he won't send me it, because he's a dick. That's right, he's got nothing to say about that, nothing whatsoever. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll hand it over to him. It's his review. Go for it.
Alright. While we wait for the computer to actually play the video properly, it seems to be skipping repeatedly. Basically, Deus Ex is a first-person RPG game, very conspiracy theory based, and has lots of different ways to play the game. Each conversation you have with someone will slightly change the way the game is played, and many different outcomes will happen. So it's a game you can replay multiple times and always get a different experience. It's quite an old game now as well. It came out in 2000, and it was rated the best PC game of all time by PC Gamer magazine, and is still highly rated as the best game of all time by a lot of YouTube stars who have played it and reviewed it.
Apart from me, I prefer Invisible War.
Yes, admindan prefers Invisible War, but as everyone knows, Invisible War didn't exist.
Oh, cheap shot. I thought... Whatever.
So we're going to do the training when the video loads properly. We're doing the training because the main game takes a while to get into and understand, whereas the training explains what is going on. So while it loads, I will hand it over to Admin Dan for a bit of background story on Deus Ex.
Thank you. Yeah, just a quick rundown on the backdrop. Deus Ex was set in the year 2052, I believe. Most people who played the Invisible War game will understand what I'm saying. It's J.C. Denton's the main character. So is his brother, Paul Denton. They work for UNANCO, whatever you like to call them, United Nations of whatever. Just bringing up the wiki page for them.
While he does that, I'm going to explain what's going on the screen at the moment. Basically, this is the training part of it. It's telling you all the different controls and how to basically play the game. There are lots of different items and different ways to use them. Like the crowbar is actually a lethal takedown, and so is the combat knife. But you can get other weapons like the batons and swords later on, which are non-lethal. So there's lots of different ways you can handle your situations. These boxes, the brown ones you can destroy, whereas the metal one at the back is indestructible. Same with doors, they have lock strength and door strength, so you could actually bash your way through the door with explosives or pick the lock. Data cubes you'll find around everywhere. Some contain passwords, others contain just general rubbish to keep you entertained, and some contain little quotes from people. Here's the door panels. They're like keypads, and these are multi-tools which you can use to hack the door panels. And Dan has got the wiki up, so I'll pass it over to him.
Yeah, the Deus Ex takes place in a dystopian future world that draws heavily upon the present-day constant conspiracy theories. Just a brief for some locations that you'll find on the game: New York City, Hong Kong, Paris, Vandenberg Air Force Base, and Area 51. I'm not going to say because it says it takes some like place in real world locations, and there's not enough proof for me to say that Area 51 is a real place. I'm not going to say I'm an alien conspiracy nut, because I'm not. Yeah, there's a lot of mini stories inside of the bigger story, if you like to say. There's a pandemic ongoing during the game called the Grade F. It has no cure. A synthetic vaccine ambrosia manufactured by company VersaLife, which, if you play Invisible War, eventually you'll be able to, near the end of the game, you go to the VersaLife base up in the North Pole where JC Denton is during the game. Yes, that's right, JC Denton. He disappears, he ends up in the North Bloody Pole in his own temple. And he merges with, if I remember rightly, I think it's the GM. Or am I thinking of Metal Gear Solid? There's a certain program that's... Yeah, the Helios, that's the one. He merges with the Helios and then he becomes an uppity douchebag. We won't go into that though. We'll remain right now where he's a complete badass, where he's like, looks like he's been dragged straight out of the Matrix. Yeah. So there's various other types of groups on this game. For a quick mention of a few of them, there's the Majestic 12, the Illuminati, and the Hong Kong Triads, and Silhouette. Also, when you start, obviously the plot starts as J.C. Denton being a rookie for the United Nations Anti-Terrorist Coalition. That as well, if you go to Liberty Island on Invisible War, you can go through the ruins of the where J.C. Denton used to work. It's overrun by homeless people and bad guys. So, it's always a win. Just to let you know the platforms of the game, your usual platforms for this game is PC, PlayStation 2, Mac, and there was one for Linux, but it didn't get released because the company went bust. To let you know the developers and publishers for this game, Ironstorm, they did the Thief series on the PC. Most notable game that they created was Thief Deadly Shadows, probably one of the best type of game in its genre. It's up there by itself. There's no other game like it. People can argue that there is, but there isn't. I mean, there's not many games that's based on a thief. And I'm not counting Aladdin, because Aladdin's not really a game, it's a movie. Yeah. We'll move on to the publisher. Eidos Interactive. Again, they published the Thief series. They've also the main power behind Lara Croft series. They've done a few decent games. Now I'll hand you back over to Dan for the rest of the game review. Might come back to me for some bits and pieces, but other than that.
Thank you. Basically, at the moment, we're just still going through the training. You've seen various bits, like how to pick up various objects, and this is the most hated part of the training for most people. It is the swimming stage, which everyone knows who's played this game that swimming is a useless skill to have. It's up there with... Yeah, we apologise for the quality of the video. For some reason, it tends to jitter, and...
Mine's awesome. You criticise my laptop, and yet my laptop's got better quality recording. Take that, Windows 7. Bill Gates didn't see this coming at all, did he? Even though he's retired, but we still make Bill Gates.
Yeah, we do. As I was saying, swimming is a useless skill. It's almost up there with environmental training, which is also another useless skill. It's more useful than swimming, but it's still a quite useless one. And while I'm trying to remember how to use the hazmat suit, as I haven't been played this game in a long time, and the controls are very strange, shall we say. Like, the inventory key is F12, and the reload key is semicolon, which is a key that not many other games have ever used for anything. These are the medbots. They heal various parts of your body. This guy is very annoying. He takes all of your equipment off you every time you talk to him, and there is nothing you can actually do about it. people have tried to sneak past him, people have tried to shoot him before, and you cannot do anything about it. We're now moving on to the weapons range. I apologise for my abysmal accuracy, but trying to record this and do this voiceover at the same time is quite challenging with a mousepad. So while the combat training is being performed, I'll hand you over to admindan for some more background story.
It's already a background story. It's more of a failed movie deal. Deus Ex did have a announcement 2006, I believe. They were going to create a movie. It did at one point have William Dafoe. That's right, the bad guy from Spider-Man. For all those young ones. To, yeah, here we are. William Dafoe, it was scheduled to be made 2006. It got actually announced in 2002 by Columbia Pictures. IGN, however, still list it. Games to Film Frenzy in October 2004. And it is still listed as in development in their Games to Film listing. Don't know how much is true and when it's going to get released. But, if it happens. Also, there was a stage adaptation as well, planned by the Kassel State Theatre in Germany, 2002. The performance was to be interactive, with possibility of the audience decisions changing the plot. However, Eidos withdrew the given permission 2 weeks before the premiere because of conflicts with the upcoming film adaptation. That kind of makes them feel a bit of a dick because the film didn't come out, and the film's turning into another Duke Nukem type thing, where it's going to be years before we actually ever see it. But it would be a good film. But, it depends on who's doing it. If Uwe Ball does it, I'm not watching it. He's ruined so many games. The only decent one he did was In the Name of the King. That was because it was a Dungeon Siege one. And Dungeon Siege is so open and so old that I'm surprised anyone's still heard of that. That was probably one when your fathers were playing on the friggin' Amiga. Yeah. The Amiga. The very first Acon computers. I remember those. I was at secondary school, and our school still had Acon computers. It was really ridiculous.
Showing your age
there. Yeah. Anyway, the music soundtrack to this is it's kind of like ambient, incorporated a number of genres, including techno, jazz, and classical.
Probably the best soundtrack of any video game to date.
No. You see, you say that, but I think the Tony Hawk series has a better soundtrack than...
The Tony Hawk series, the soundtracks to it are various other people's songs.
That's not the point. So is Burnout, and...
Yeah, most games nowadays use other people's songs as their soundtracks. This game had an entire soundtrack written by somebody for the game, and it was...
Just to clarify, the soundtrack of Deus Ex was composed by Alexander Brendan, Dan Gardopi, and Michael van der Bos, and Reeves... Gabriels. Why these people got silly names? Why can't they just have normal names like John Smith or Joe Bloggs?